By now everyone knows because it's been widely reported that Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom have split. Miss Tim sees me. Have you been enjoying your time here? Yes. But I got very sick last night, so I'm trying to listen. Get sick, girl. They weren't married, so apparently they got engaged in 2019. And they have not been married since that engagement. Katy Perry just vanished from Los Angeles days after insiders say Orlando Bloom called off their engagement behind closed doors. And no, this wasn't a quiet breakup or a mutual decision. This was a full-blown collapse allegedly triggered by a private fight so intense it shattered everything they've been building for 7 years. You know, they just get better as they go along. She's a powerhouse. And I'm just so I sort of marvel at her ability to just keep knocking it out in such a major way and bringing so much joy, and her sort of gusto and enjoy derived to life. It's always so impressive. But yeah, 143 baby, now Katy's gone off the grid, reportedly hiding out overseas to escape what some are calling the most humiliating moment of her public life. And the timing couldn't be worse, because this breakup didn't just end a relationship, it exposed everything she's been desperately trying to keep under wraps. But why did they break up? People magazine reports that their relationship has been breaking down the last couple of months and wasn't looking good. They're pretty much done, a source told People, adding that they don't really see them being able to turn things around here. I'm not sure if that's what happened or not. But ladies, I think we can all agree that if you've been engaged for 6 years and you still haven't gotten married, something is wrong. Here at first it looked like just another celebrity couple struggling to balance fame and family. But behind the scenes the story was unraveling fast. Sources close to the couple claimed the tension had been building for months. Katy's been bouncing between continents, drowning herself in work, fashion shows, and PR stunts that only raised more eyebrows than applause. Well, I thought I was the most hated person on the internet. I think that's false. From the AI Met Gala disaster to her strange robotic behavior on American Idol, the signs were all there, but no one wanted to believe it, not until now. And then, without warning, Orlando reportedly told their inner circle, "It's over, not a break, not a pause, but a full shutdown of the engagement. Feeling safe, seen, and celebrated. I want to feel safe, so in terms of my relationship, so it's self first, right? So if I look in the mirror, I feel safe. Do I feel safe with you today? Do I feel seen by you? Am I kind of observing myself? And do I feel celebrated, right? But really it's for the people in my life. Do I feel safe with this person? Do I feel seen by this person? And am I feeling celebrated? And can I do that for them? Obviously, right? It's a mirror, so if I'm feeling that way, then you're good. It's a green light, and if I'm not, then I'm going to just step back, take pause until I can feel that way. And if I can't feel that way, then maybe life and the universe will take us on different trajectories." Allegedly, he led private wedding plans just weeks before a rumored destination ceremony that had already been quietly arranged. Katy blindsided. According to one source, she found out the same night he made the call, alone backstage at an industry gala where witnesses say she looked like she was holding back tears. Within 48 hours, Katy was gone, not just laying low, but gone. No paparazzi shots leaving her Hollywood Hills home, no appearances at scheduled brand events. Her team stayed silent. "I so badly want to be Katherine Hudson that I don't even want to look like Katy Perry anymore sometimes, okay? And that is a little bit of why I cut my hair, is because I really want to be my authentic self, 100%. And so it hurts, when I don't feel like I can. It's hard, I say, get on tour, okay? And it's hard because I'm ashamed, because of course Katy Perry is so strong. You're talking to Katherine, she's sitting back. But it's hard because I feel ashamed that I would even have those thoughts, I'd feel that low or that depressed." But then came the leaked airport photos, grainy, out of focus, but enough to confirm what fans already feared. She'd left the country, destination unknown, but whispers started immediately. Rome, then Isa, possibly even a remote Swiss resort known for handling high-profile celebrity breakdown. It didn't take long for fan theories to explode. Was she running from the press, from the wedding that never happened, or from the embarrassment of being left just as the world was beginning to turn on her? Because in the last few months, something has definitely changed. It's nice pillow. The Katy Perry the world once knew, playful, confident, unapologetically herself, had become erratic, distant, and increasingly hard to recognize. And now, with Orlando staying completely silent and Katy allegedly in hiding, the public's left with only one question: what really happened behind the scenes to destroy one of Hollywood's most watched love stories? But the answer is even darker than anyone expected. Do you have a type? I really value presence. I value loyalty. I value adventure. I value humor. I value lightheartedness. I value problem solving. I value playfulness. To be playful is so important, imagination and playfulness. That is to me intelligence. That is to me the currency that I look for. I value strength, but not just there's a lot of people that can be powerful and strong in the world but crumble personally and behind, in their private lives, and they could be man children, they could be stunted at 12, they could be man children. Katy, yes, at First glance, Katy Perry and Orlando Bloom looked like the fairy tale couple that had it all: a less status, global success, and a romance that spanned oceans and red carpets. But dig a little deeper, and the cracks were always there, hiding behind the Instagram posts, the joint interviews, and the perfectly staged family moments. It's a real relationship. It's there to challenge you into your best self. It's never-ending evolution. It's really about an individual journey that makes the whole thing better, because it's not my half and your half that makes a whole, it's my wholeness and your wholeness that makes this whole thing happen. Their relationship started back in 2016 after a flirtatious moment at a Golden Globes afterparty that quickly became tabloid gold. Within weeks, the two were inseparable, jet-setting around the world from Tokyo sushi spots to yacht parties and Cannes. But even in those early days, their dynamic was described as intense. Friends of Katy reportedly said she was head over heels fast, while Orlando still seemed half attached to his bachelor lifestyle. When you met Orlando, did you know straight away, yes, this is the guy I've been waiting for? I casted a little spell for him, and I was like, I'm going to go to this event, maybe I'll meet someone there. Then it happened that night. That's amazing that you even picked the night. And then we went on a journey together. And there's been so much growth. That's beautiful. I love that, and I love that saying the light cannot exist without the darkness. By 2017 they'd already split once. The reason: different priorities according to their reps. But behind that statement were whispers of jealousy, control, and frustration over distance. Orlando wanted simplicity, Katy wanted the spotlight, and for a while that was enough to tear them apart. But a year later they got back together, and this time it seemed different. We weren't like really in it from day one. I mean, he was in a way, because he had just done a huge time of celibacy and he had set intentions and had a really tough year. And I finally went to Hoffman towards the end of that year that we were separated, and then I got the tools and spoke the same language and it changed my life. It saved my life. In 2019 Orlando proposed on Valentine's Day with a custom designed flower-shaped diamond ring during a helicopter ride. It was the kind of proposal you'd expect from a movie script. The internet exploded, fans swooned. Katy called it a fairy tale moment. But the wedding, it never came. Posed to her on Monday night's Jimmy Kimmel Live, the 365 singer revealed that Bloom popped the question to her on Valentine's Day in a helicopter. The pair then landed on a roof where the couple's families and friends were waiting for them. And even though it sounds like a magical proposal fit for an episode of The Bachelor, Perry revealed that it didn't go off totally smooth. He's pulling out this box that's too big for his coat pocket, and it rips his coat pocket, and his elbow goes into the champagne. And I'm like, no, I'm just reading the note. I know you're not doing anything. Instead, life got complicated. Katy's American Idol role started consuming her schedule. Orlando took on grittier film roles that kept him overseas. Then came the pandemic, and in 2020 the birth of their daughter Daisy Dove Bloom. For a while that seemed to ground them. They kept things quieter, more private. But even then the tension was never far from the surface. According to insiders, their priorities had diverged again. Orlando was craving a slower pace, often retreating to the countryside or taking wellness trips without Katy. Meanwhile, Katy was still chasing the next reinvention of her image, desperate to remain relevant in an industry that moves on from pop stars at lightning speed. By late 2023, they were rarely photographed together. Katy's solo appearances grew more frequent, and fans began asking the same question in the comments of every photo: where's Orlando? Katy brushed off the rumor. She called it healthy space, but now it's clear something was unraveling long before the world noticed. And just when fans assumed they were planning a low-key wedding, everything collapsed. Sources close to the couple now claim the engagement didn't just fizzle out, it imploded. Allegedly, Orlando pulled the plug without warning just weeks before a small destination ceremony that had been planned in secret. The wedding wasn't some far-off fantasy. According to one industry insider, the venue was booked, the guest list was drafted, flights were being reviewed, flights were being coordinated under fake names to avoid paparazzi leaks. But then came the fight. No one knows exactly what triggered it, but multiple sources claim it happened during a private dinner at their LA home. A close friend described it as the conversation that ended everything. Orlando allegedly told Katy he couldn't go through with it, that the last few months had been too chaotic, that her obsession with control over their image, their daughter's exposure, even his career, was suffocating him. And that's when it clicked. This wasn't a temporary break. This was done. Katy, blindsided and furious, reportedly tried to fix it. She called in her publicist, canceled interviews, cleared her schedule, but it was too late. The decision had been made. In the days that followed, Orlando went radio silent. He stayed at a friend's estate just outside of LA. Katy, meanwhile, spiraled. According to two separate sources, she had an emotional breakdown during a rehearsal for an upcoming live appearance. Staff backstage allegedly found her sobbing in a dressing room, clutching her phone and refusing to speak to anyone. And then, just like that, She was gone, no goodbye to fans, no formal announcement, just eerie silence. But as people scrambled to figure out what really went wrong, Katy's team worked overtime to spin the story. They called it a wellness trip, a pre-planned vacation. But even that narrative collapsed when blurry photos surfaced, Katy alone at a private airport terminal, visibly distraught, dressed in all black. At that point the speculation shifted into overdrive, because if this was just a cancelled wedding, why did it look like Katy Perry was running from something much bigger? And what happened next only made it worse. The moment the airport photos leaked, the internet exploded. Katy Perry, barefaced, dressed in head-to-toe black, boarding a private jet with no entourage, was gone. Fans tried to play detective, analyzing everything from the aircraft tail number to the grainy landscape in the background. Some claimed she was flying to Rome, others swore she'd been spotted in Ibiza. But one thing was certain: she wasn't in L.A. anymore, and she didn't want to be found. Sources close to her inner circle later admitted the truth: she had fled not for vacation, not for press, but because she couldn't face the fallout. One insider said she felt completely humiliated and erased by Orlando's decision. The wedding was supposed to be her comeback moment, the fairy tale finale to a turbulent few years, and now it had turned into her most public rejection yet. Insiders claimed that her team begged her to stay. They'd even arranged press-friendly talking points and pre-drafted social posts to control the narrative, but Katy refused. Allegedly, she left LA without warning, canceling all scheduled events, cutting off contact with friends, and telling her staff she needed total silence. Within hours she'd boarded the jet alone, no makeup artist, no stylist, not even her assistant. By the next day she was spotted wandering the cobblestone streets of Rome, trying to keep her face hidden beneath oversized sunglasses and a scarf. Locals said she looked lost and unwell. A few days later, paparazzi caught her arriving at a luxury wellness retreat in Ibiza, one frequented by celebrities. During breakdowns and image rehabs again, she was alone. Meanwhile, back in Hollywood, speculation was spiraling out of control. Why had she run? Was there more to the story than just heartbreak? Some pointed to her recent behavior: erratic interviews, forced laughter during live tapings, bizarre fashion choices that felt more like distractions than statements. Others believed this wasn't just about Orlando. This was about Katy Perry cracking under the pressure of staying relevant in a world that had already moved on. And what stung even more, Orlando's silence: no public statement, no denial, no defense. He wasn't running, he was staying calm, quiet, and oddly composed. And that made the story even juicier, because while Katy was disappearing, Orlando was quietly rebuilding his life, and possibly reconnecting with someone from his past. Katy Perry used to be unstoppable, #1 hit, sold-out tours, viral performances, but lately things have been different, and now that the engagement has imploded, fans are starting to look back at the last year with fresh eyes, and what they're seeing isn't flattering. Let's rewind to the 2024 Met Gala. Katy arrived in a bizarre AI-themed dress that sparked instant backlash. Critics called it soulless, confusing, even desperate. Some joked it looked like ChatGPT had designed her outfit, but what really concerned fans was her demeanor: robotic, disconnected. When reporters asked basic questions, she gave stiff, awkward replies. No sparkle, no charm, just rehearsed lines that didn't land. It felt like she wasn't even present. Then came American Idol. What should have been a career highlight started turning sour. Viewers began complaining about her on-air behavior, calling her cold, dismissive. Even cruel clips of her mocking contestants went viral. The backlash got so loud that ABC allegedly had to step in and retrain her. Media approach: mid-season she went from fan favorite to fan fatigue in a matter of months. But now, with the Orlando breakup front and center, fans are putting it all together: the weird interviews, the forced smiles, the uncomfortable energy on stage. It wasn't random, it was a woman spiraling and trying desperately to cover it up with glam and glitter. Insiders say Hollywood has noticed too. In recent months, brand deals have quietly dried up. A major cosmetics partnership reportedly froze all campaigns indefinitely just weeks before launch. One exec described her as too unpredictable to manage, and now with this breakup making global headlines, the image she worked so hard to protect is slipping through her fingers. That's worse. Some fans think this might be part of a bigger pattern. Katy's history with failed relationships, public meltdowns, and career reinventions reads like a cautionary tale of a star who never fully found peace. And now, with Orlando walking away and allegedly refusing to entertain reconciliation, it's starting to feel like she's finally run out of places to hide. But the most jaw-dropping twist: it wasn't just Katy's behavior that raised red flags. Some insiders claim Orlando had his own reasons for pulling away, and one of those reasons might involve a woman from his past who never fully left the picture. The silence from Orlando Bloom might have seemed respectful at first, but now that silence is being read very differently. Fans, insiders, and even people in the industry are starting to whisper that this wasn't just about growing apart. Something else happened, something Katy's team is allegedly scrambling to keep under wraps. The first spark: a cryptic message from one of Orlando's longtime friends posted to Instagram, then quickly deleted it read, "Sometimes letting go is the kindest thing you can do, especially when someone's lost themselves trying to impress the world." Fans screenshotted it instantly. Was it about Katy? The timing couldn't have been worse or more deliberate. Then came the rumors. Anonymous Reddit threads claimed Orlando had reconnected with an old flame, a woman he'd been close to before Katy, and allegedly stayed in contact with on and off during the relationship. No names have been confirmed, but fans quickly began combing through past interviews and party photos trying to find the missing piece. Katy, meanwhile, stayed offline until a leaked DM, supposedly sent from her private account, began circulating in fan groups. In the message, Katy allegedly confided to a friend, "I feel like I never existed to him, like I was a placeholder. I gave up everything to make this work, and now I'm the villain." The authenticity hasn't been confirmed, but it sounds heartbreakingly in character, and fans are treating it like gospel. To make matters worse, one former staffer from Katy's team came forward anonymously in a podcast saying the relationship had been dead for a year, but Katy refused to let go because her identity was tied to being half of this power couple. They added that she had built a fairy tale in her head, and when Orlando stopped playing along, she couldn't accept it. Social media has erupted. Some fans are rallying behind her, blaming the pressures of the industry, the constant judgment, the impossible expectations, but others are turning on her, saying the cracks were obvious, that her behavior had grown cold and calculated, that she lost herself chasing an image instead of love. And through it all, Orlando hasn't said a word. No statement, no denial, no defense of Katy, just quiet distance. Some say it's out of respect, others say it's because he's already moved on and doesn't want to reopen the chaos he just escaped from. But one thing's for sure, the more people dig, the uglier it gets. And as the story spirals, the real question now isn't just about why the relationship ended, but whether Katy Perry will be able to come back from it. Right now, Katy Perry is off the grid. No official statements, no appearances, no posts, just silence, and the growing sense that she's not only hiding from the world, but from what this breakup exposed. Because this isn't just about losing Orlando, it's about losing control of the narrative she spent years carefully building. Her fans want answers, her critics want closure, but Katy is nowhere to be found, insiders claim. She's still in Europe, bouncing between wellness resorts, avoiding press, and weighing her next move. But what move is even left when your fairy tale ends with a plane ticket out of the country? There's talk of a reinvention era, a comeback album inspired by heartbreak, a tell-all documentary. Her team is reportedly working around the clock to salvage her brand, pitching new campaigns, exploring reality show offers, even quietly reaching out to Oprah's people. But the industry isn't sure. After years of mixed signals and unpredictable moments, some execs see Katy as a liability, not a legacy act. Meanwhile, Orlando Bloom has resumed filming a new project overseas. He's been spotted smiling, relaxed, hanging with castmates, and avoiding all questions about the split. For someone who just ended a 7-year relationship, he looks remarkably unfazed. That contrast is striking and brutal. One is unraveling, the other seems relieved, but the deeper truth, maybe they were never really aligned to begin with. Katy chased noise, reinvention, spectacle. Orlando craved quiet simplicity, something real. In the end, it wasn't just a breakup, it was a collision of two lives heading in opposite directions, and Katy, for all her fame, was the one left spinning. Still, don't count her out just yet. If there's one thing Katy Perry's always done through setbacks, scandals, and public scrutiny, it's bounce back. Maybe not gracefully, maybe not cleanly, but always loudly. And maybe, just maybe, this silence is the storm she needed before the next act begins. Because in Hollywood, the fall doesn't matter nearly as much as the comeback. If you want to follow the fallout and see what Katy does next, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because this story is far from over. For more updates and latest news, like, share, and subscribe to World Heat to be updated to the world and celebrity news around the world. Also press bell icon. Thank you everyone for the support.